because
I've given you permission. I've given you permission.
you want, yeah, well, it's kind of a hybrid contest, so I guess we can do it. Yes, that's correct. Well, and so I'm also going to officer not only as the president of the club, but also as the chair for the contest. So it's kind of a dual role, Toastmaster, chair of the contest. So the topic of the day of the night today actually is competition, obviously, because it's our contest. And really competition is to help us do better and grow because we have to push ourselves beyond boundaries. So the idea of us competing here obviously is to win, but that's not the most important thing. I consider that this is for us to get better and for us to improve. Soma, you are raising your hand?
Yes, Rafia is saying that she is trying to join virtually.
Yeah. Okay.
You can also have somebody as co-host. They can manage it.
Yeah, no, I think he made us co-host.
Yes. Do you need anything else?
Rafia, okay. All right.
Hey,
So
Rafia.
once again, we are here to compete, but we are also here to improve as in any of our regular meetings. So I explained before that we are going to have a hybrid meeting, not only because we are in person here at the offices of STV, but also because we are having a hybrid competition, regular Toastmaster meeting tonight. So we are going to have our 3 speakers like we normally do. We are going to have them, allow them to present their speeches, and the competition speeches for the international speech competitors are going to be 5 to 7 minutes. So don't exceed your time, you know that, because we don't want you guys to get disqualified. And then we will have our 10 topics speaker, which is going to be only one person, is Elias. So he's not going to be competing, he's going to be practicing. But we are going to help them, and we're going to have our judges also performing as evaluators in this contest. So we will have our normal meeting, but kind of hybrid in the meeting. We are going to squeeze in the speech competition for the international speech competition. So with this, I am going to give the word to our general evaluator. That is nobody else than our Vice President of Education, Melissa.
Hello and good evening. Can everybody hear me okay? Great, great. I'm using new headphones. I just wanted to make sure. Thank you. So good afternoon, Toastmaster, competition chair moderator, and fellow Toastmasters. I enjoy being here with everybody. As our chair introduced today, I am the general evaluator for today's meeting. And for the benefit of our guests, my role is divided into 3 parts. One is to introduce our evaluators for our prepared speeches, for our competition speakers. And 2 is to call upon our the tag team, which consists of the timer, aha counter, and grammarian, and for their respective roles. And then finally, I will give my general evaluation of the overall team. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll go ahead and introduce my team. The first person on my team is going to be Miss Grammarian.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. As a grammarian, it's going to be my responsibility to listen all the speakers carefully, the usage of language, and also it's going to be my responsibility to listen to special phrases or any quotes which are important and which are eye-catching. And I'm also going to introduce the word of the day. The word of the day today is undertaking. The meaning of word undertaking is, first meaning is a formal meaning, pledge or promise to do something, or a task that is taken on an enterprise. The first example of undertaking is, I gave an undertaking that we shall proceed with the legislation. Second example is a mammoth undertaking that involved digging into the side of a cliff face. Towards the end, I'm going to present my detailed report. Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ms. Rafia Marian. And next up, we're going to have our AHA counter, and she's going to tell us what her role is. Ms. Jessica Sun.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmaster, dear guest, my role is R counter, and basically I know the use of the word and sounds like a crutch word or pause filler for anyone who speak during the meeting. Words may be like and some transition word like and, well, but, so, that we're not supposed to use, and also other noun word used by the speaker. So at the end of the meeting, I will give our counter report. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. AHA counter. Next, we have our timer who will give us a little bit of information of his role, Mr. Avi Chatter.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Avi. Tonight, I'm going to be the timer for this meeting. I know we are doing contest for our regular members here. So we are going to do 5 to 7 minutes for each participant. When it's 5, because we are limited in our resources tonight, I'm going to chat green, yellow, red, like that. So please make sure a participant who are in person here, you will see my hand waving. For online participant, please make sure you're looking at the chat. It will pop up by default in your screen there. So 5 minutes, you're gonna see something popping up as green, 6, and finally you will have the 7th minute as the red. Because this is a contest, you can continue your speech as long as you want. It's on the judge's discretion whether they wanna have you as legal participant or not from there. Thank you, and back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Avi, for that. And one other role that I did fail to mention was our ballot counter. I'd like to introduce for tonight is Mr. Jorge Alba.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. So also I will be collecting the ballots from the judges. So I will be doing the tallying of who is the winner and second place for our contest tonight. But at the same time, since we are going to also have table topics, so I will be collecting the ballots for the first or the best table topic speakers of the evening. Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Ballot Counter. As we continue the meeting for tonight, I am going to, now that all of our team has introduced themselves, now I'm going to turn it back over to our chair moderator for tonight, Mr. Jorge Alba.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. So we are ready to start our competition of the evening tonight. Our first competitor for the evening is Soma Chatahari. Soma will be presenting my relationship with my garden. Soma, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me? Can you please let me know? Thank you.
Yes.
Happy Valentine's to you all, my fellow Toastmasters. So today I will share my gardening experience with you all that I did during the pandemic period. As we all know that since 2020, all of our lives got changed due to COVID-19. Suddenly, some buzzwords such as social isolation, lockdown, those words become an integral part of our life. Similar to other professionals, I also started to work from home during that pandemic period. Initially, I was having some hiccups to get adjusted with that work from home environment. Here, I would like to say that I feel really fortunate that I had a job during those stressful days. However, I was still feeling anxious and feeling disconnected from the outside world. Why? we are all isolating in our home and social distancing, the outside world was changing in a leapfrog. At the middle of 2020, I realized that the new indoor living lifestyle will not gonna change very soon. So I have to do something so that I can get accustomed with this indoor lifestyle. So I started to do some freehand exercises, meditation, yoga, and which actually helped me a little bit to reduce my inner stress. However, I was still feeling disconnected from the outside world. One thing that I found during that time helped me, my nature walk. When I walk in my neighborhood and observe the plants while my way back home. So sometimes just a 15-minute brisk walk reset my whole day. So I was wondering one day, what is the deal with the plants? What is happening inside me when I am around in nature? What does my brain and body do when I feel soil with my hands, when I touch a plant? So with all these questions, I started to do some research and I found some scientific papers and journals. Those are saying that nature has a proven effect on human to reduce rumination. Again, I encountered a new word, rumination, which involves repetitive thinking, particularly negative feeling and distress, and their causes and consequences. While ruminating, our brain thinks that something terrible can happen and then replaces those possibilities over and over again. After reading these papers, a bell rang inside me. A question emerged inside me, am I ruminating? And the second question just came hand by hand. So what's the way? How should I get out of this rumination process? So again, I go back to do my research and I found some scientific studies are saying rumination, feeling our awe experience or experiencing our awe emotion actually help us to get out of this rumination process. Awe is an emotion that we feel when we see vast thing, which is we cannot replace it with our immediate frame of reference, which can be mysterious, that we cannot explain with our current knowledge base. So awe actually intrinsic, or it stimulates our imagination process, and it also makes us curious and wonder. For example, when we see the vastness of Grand Canyon, that's the time we come across with our awe feeling. However, awe can be experienced by slowing down or taking moment off and studying flowers and leaves and even the plant patterns. Studies also shows that working with soil and plants for 5 minutes can change our behavior from fight to flight to tend to be a friend behavior. So to get away from the rumination, I started my own garden with flowers and plants. Each and every day I work in my garden, I feel an all day long urge to go back and see all those plants. Suddenly I realized that my frequent visit to my garden is actually telling me that I'm an intrinsic part of this nature and with an ability that I can grow something. So observing the minute detail of the fragmentation of the flower petals or leaves, or just to see the growing the plants actually helps me calm down, which reduces my rumination process. And my garden helped direct my thinking outwards, and it helped me to know how big the world is, and inside this world, how we are located. Obviously, my gardening process does not reduces all my stress and anxiety, but this process gave me a perspective. So whenever I stuck with an idea or overwhelmed with more ideas, or I feel disconnected, that time, instead of rumination, I just go back and see the plants and try to see the larger pattern which is around me. My little garden reminds me that even it's a small part which is located at the back corner of my backyard, it is incredibly beautiful and a life-changing event for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Soma. Great presentation. Thank you. We are going to give our judges, instead of 1 minute, 3 minutes for them to go through their ballots and be able to fill their ballots that they have to do. So I'm going to be a timer for a second because our timer is actually one of the judges before we invite our second contestant in the evening to come here with us. So in the meantime, if you want, the one that are connected to your computer, if you want to send a note to Soma in private, you can go ahead and send her any comments in private to Soma. So I'll give 2 more minutes to our to our judges.
Jorge, I have a question. I don't know whether I qualified or not with timing. I practiced, but just wanted to let you know, Rafia, can you please change your see the red box? Because it is sometimes when I was giving my speech, it was showing red boxes. So I thought that, am I out of my time or so?
Okay, I think you, we have to ask the timer, but I think you did qualify anyway. Because I was checking your timer and I think you did qualify.
Yeah, just
He
wanted
said,
to.
and then I think you finished before he sent the red. So I believe you did qualify. So let's give our timer. Yeah, our timer just give us the thumbs up. So you did qualify. So don't worry. So once again, we are trying this new experiment of the hybrid meeting. Some other clubs in the Houston area have been going already to the hybrid meeting for a while, but for us this is the first time. We have been going. I mean, we went to virtual, all the clubs in Houston, obviously with COVID. That was like 3 years ago, and we stay all this time as a virtual.
So that
4
means-
years ago.
So that
Yeah,
means-
but for a year. For a year, everybody was virtual anyway, and
So that
slowly.
means my today's speech is actually have a context, right? That
It's a contest.
today is our first virtual meeting. Yeah, and we are, this is like a transitioning period from COVID and post-COVID period.
Now, the contest will be virtual. You know that. Yes.
Yeah, last time I remember it.
Will be virtual, so you have to practice your virtual. Whoever is our winner of the evening will have to practice virtual for that day. You have to learn to use the camera. That's another thing, that we were very good speakers, speaking in person. Once we had to learn to use the cameras and all that, it was a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
But one of the ideas of allowing our club members to practice or to participate in hybrid meetings is that you get to use both your camera experience and also your in-person, because it's totally different. The way you present to a speaker, the way you present your speeches in person is totally different than the way you present it using your camera. So we have 2 minutes. So I think our judges are ready. Okay. So our second contestant for the evening is one of our newest members, but also our secretary and sergeant of arms, and I don't even know how many roles he has taken in our club. So Tosin will be presenting negotiate the best outcome, win-win or win-lose. Tosin, the floor is yours. For you.
Negotiate the best outcome. Win-win or win-lose. Have you ever thought about what goes through your mind when you're at the point of making a decision? Especially a decision that has to do with negotiation. The truth about it is, people hate to negotiate. And come to think of it, we are constantly in that state to either negotiate with ourselves or with someone else. And oftentimes, when we negotiate, we always have this thirst, this feeling, this hunger to always win. But when we don't win, we tend to see ourselves as losers. Seeing ourselves as losers can actually mean seeing the glass of water half empty. What about if you flip the coin over? And rather than seeing the glass of water half empty, why don't you see the glass of water half full? Whatever the scenario is, whatever the situation is, we are constantly in that state of either negotiating the best outcome, either a win-win or a win-lose. It was about 6:45 p.m. on a Friday evening. I'd gone to pick my son from his daycare. And just as we were about to get into our home, my son, a 3-year-old, he looked at me and said, "Dad, you have your shoes on." And I turned. I looked at my son. I said, "Why would you tell me that I have my shoes on? Can't you see that I'm tired? I've had a very busy day. You shouldn't tell me that again." But he said, "But Dad, you have to take your shoes. You have to take your shoes because you made the rules. And rules are rules." Then I looked at him, dropped my ego as his father, and said, "Okay, I will take off my shoes." Knowing fully well that I wasn't going to win this negotiation because I made the rules and I didn't want to fault on those rules. So I said, "Okay, no problem. Son, I'll take off my shoes. But what would you give me in return?" And the 3-year-old said, "If you take off your shoes, Dad, I will give you a high five." I looked at him, a high five? That seems tempting. And I said, "No problem. If you give me a high five, I will take off my shoes. But I also have my own condition. Going forward, you won't tell me to take off my shoes." And he said, "It's a deal." And then we struck the deal. My son enthusiastically gave me a high five. And of course, I took off my shoes. And that was the situation. Now, you'll be wondering that, what does this actually mean? The truth about it is that whenever we're negotiating, we stand a chance to either maintain a relationship or to ensure that the connections that we're forging, they're sustained. Now, the question you ask is that how or what does it really take to negotiate? There are 3 things you can actually deploy in negotiating. The first one, you assess the situation. The second thing you can do, you strategize. And the third thing you can do is to engage. Just like my son, he looked at me and said that I need to take off my shoes. And of course, I took off my shoes. The second thing we did was to propose a strategy. I proposed to him that I was going to take off my shoes. And he proposed to me that he was going to give me a high five. And the third thing we did was that we engaged, which was that we took actions. I let go of my ego, took off my shoes, and he also put up the action and gave me a high five. Whenever we are in a situation to negotiate, you can always decide to either win-win or win-lose. Sometimes you may have to walk away. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tosin. Excellent presentation. Really appreciate it. Can you say that so we get the speaker on the screen? I guess on the view. Should be the speaker, I think. Thank you. So they will see this. Okay, just want to make sure that they are seeing him. Yeah. When he was speaking. Okay, anyway. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Excellent speech. So let's give our judges 3 minutes again. I know we normally give them only 1 minute, but let's give them 3 minutes. And if everybody wants to send your private comments to Tosin on his speech, really appreciate it. So I'm explaining right to you how the meeting works a little bit. So after his speech, what we allow is 1 minute for people to make comments. And then again, when we're in the virtual world, we send them on the directed to them. When we are in person, we actually write them on a piece of paper and we pass it individually to the speaker. So that's normally the way we do in a regular Toastmaster meeting. Because the idea is to give feedback to the person that just presented the speech. So that's normally what we do. And that's the whole idea. to help our. Yes, Jessica, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think we can send comments through through the chat to Tosin because he's not signing.
Oh, because he's not on it. That's correct. Okay.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
also
I guess
another question.
What I would recommend is if you want to save your comments and probably send them later to him, you can either email them or
Text message.
or send them over text, either way.
Okay. And also I have a second question is about voting. So we are not going to vote for these 3 speakers.
You are not going to vote. No, only we will vote for table topic Toastmaster,
Okay,
but not for the contestant. The contestant, there are 3 judges right now that I'm not supposed to tell who the judges are, but they know. So they will be filling their ballot. That's what they are working on right now. That's what I'm giving them 3 minutes for them to fill the ballot because it's fairly comprehensive. I don't know if you have seen the ballot for the national speech competition, but it's a whole page that they have to go through. So 3 minutes is probably not even enough time. That's what I'm trying to give them extra time for them to go through the ballot and fill the whole ballot. Then at the end, actually, I'm going to give them even more time. And after we go through the table topics and we do the voting, I'll give them time to send to me by text the results of their ballot. So I will tally the votes and then we will announce the winner of the evening. The contestant that is going to be representing us at the speech competition. And actually what we are going to do is to allow that winner in our next meeting, one more opportunity to come and present the speech. So he will, and actually that will be fully virtual because that's the way the speech competition is going to be. So that person will get one more opportunity to practice the speech before going into the competition. Now, Elias, which will be presenting tonight on the tall table, I can never say correct. He will have also a second chance to practice before he goes into the area competition. So I guess we get them 3 minutes now. So with this, okay, so somebody's already passing me a ballot. Thank you very much. So we got our first ballot here. So the last speech of the evening is Elias. Elias is going to present Elliot Moon Soccer Adventure, A Tale of Galactic Goals. Elias.
Thank you, Jorge. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters. And today I'm going to present a tall tale. Before I start, I just want to give a little bit idea about tall tales. Tall tales are a genre of folklore that involves exaggerated and often humorous stories about real or fictional characters. These stories typically feature larger than life characters with extraordinary abilities, strength, or skills. The events in tall tales are often described in a way that creating a sense of exaggeration and fantasy. So I start my presentation. Once upon a time in the soccer universe, there lived a legend named Elliot, Galactic Footwork, the best player of the world and universe. Elliot's skills were extraordinary, and his goals were like magic on the field. After a big win, Elliot and his teammates decided to aim higher, literally. They planned a trip to the moon for an out-of-this-world soccer match. It was a full moon that day. Wolves were howling louder. So they put on a special space suits and flew to the moon with soccer balls and big dreams. Upon touching down on the lunar surface, they discovered low gravity turned soccer into a hilarious spectacle. Kicking the soccer ball made it fly like shooting a star, and players bounced around like they were on trampoline. It was like a circus in a space. Elliot showcased his gravity-defying footwork when a surprise opponent appeared, Neil Armstrong, the moon's first guest. Armstrong, a secret soccer nut, challenged Elliot to a one-on-one match. The lunar soccer showdown became a side-splitting display of kicks, flips, and moonwalks. Elliot then circles around Armstrong, leaving moon rocks in stitches. In the end, Elliot won, no surprise, of course. But being a good sport, he didn't brag at all. Armstrong, with a twinkle in his eye, kept the match as his lunar secret, telling himself, I stuck the flag, at least. The ball from that game resides in a museum on the moon's permanently shadow side, never touched by a human, not even a sunlight for over 1 billion years. And recently, China has been sending rockets to the shadow side of the moon to find that ball. It's like a treasure hunt, but on the moon. If they find the ball, they plan to bring it to Earth and conduct millions of lab tests. I heard they want to copy the ball and use it in the upcoming World Cup in the USA. They are hoping this will ensure China wins the World Cup. That could be as unfortunate as Armstrong losing the game against Elliot. I wish the final game will be in Houston. That way, it could be even more ironic. NASA, after their soccer disaster, stopped sending humans to the moon missions for a while. But now, after 50 years of secret soccer training, they think they can finally beat Elliot. So they resume moon missions, hoping this time the lunar surface won't witness a comedy of soccer errors. We are excited for the next soccer game on the moon. We are standing tall and saying, we can beat the Elliot this time. Let the moon games begin. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Elias. Great speech, very interesting. Perfect for the Tell Tall competition, I think. We have an expert here on Tell Tall speeches. They really like it. They really like your speech. So we don't have to give time for our judges because they're already actually working on their ballots. So if you have 1 minute, you can please time us for 1 minute so we can send messages, comments to Elliot on his speech. And remember, this is a tale competition. It's, as he mentioned before, it's a slightly exaggerated on an imaginary tale. that he will be competing against others. So they are not only measured on their speech ability, but also on the type of stories that they put together, because it's all supposed to be imaginary stories. So very, very interesting, very good one. Yes, definitely. I think you got the soul of the competition in you. So please give us a minute, and then we'll continue on with our table topics, Toastmaster. Our table topic, if you can be ready, I'll be calling you in a minute.
10 more seconds.
10 more seconds.
There you go.
Thank you very much. So we completed our prepared speeches part of the meeting. So now we are going to go to the impromptu speeches. So again, for the benefit of our guests, this basically the way it works is we have a table topic speaker person. She prepares certain topics and she's going to ask questions from any of us here. So remember, Madam Table Topic, we have 5 people here. You can call on any of us, and you have several people connected from home. So the floor is yours, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm going to be the table topic manager, you can say. And our table topic timings are 2 minutes, minimum 1 minute, and the maximum is 2 minutes. And this is our second section of impromptu speaking. That's the part of our meeting. Our timer is going to display the green light on 1 minute, and 1 minute 30 seconds is going to be yellow light, and 2 minutes will be the red light. And the speakers will have a couple of seconds to wrap up their speech. So I am going to start asking some volunteers. If anyone who can be the volunteer, so please let me know, or otherwise maybe I can choose someone. So any volunteers? Okay. How about Carol? Would you like to join? Thank you. Thank you. So Carol, the first question that I am going to ask is, what competition you tried in the past that you do not want to do it again? Something that you tried.
Well, all right. When I was in college, about my second year in college, our school had a basketball team that actually never won a game until about 30 years after I'd graduated. And it was a big piece of news in Dallas that that school had finally won a game. But we had a cheerleading team, and I put in to be a cheerleader. There were 3 of us in the competition, and we had to do our jumps, we had to do our spins, we had to do our yells, we had to do I couldn't do a flip at all. I never have been able to do that, but we had to just present ourselves all together as somebody who was really involved with the team and really cheering for them. Well, one girl was chosen, and it wasn't me. And there were 2 of us left that we had to do more competition. And I did my jumps, and I did my spins, and I did my yells, and I did my cheers, and I did as well as I could, but I didn't make it. Only 2 girls were picked out of 3. I thought, shoot, that just doesn't seem fair. It seems like you should have a bigger group of people, and you're going to pick the 3 or 2 out of that group, because I felt like a total loser with just the last person. I mean, the only person that was the big loser. So that's the kind of competition I do not want to be involved with again. And thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carol, for sharing your experience. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to move towards our next volunteer. Anyone who would like to volunteer? Anyone? Okay, how about if I can ask Avi? Avi, would you like to jump in?
Avi just had fun.
Yes?
Avi is volunteering here.
Okay, Avi, thank you. Okay, so Avi, for you, the question is, what was the biggest change you have made in your life in the last year?
Okay, who is gonna time me? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, for this wonderful question. The biggest change that I made myself believe is the word believe. Believe in miracles. That is because there were incidents, situation, and all that I have been looking at and hearing about, but not so positive enough, that played with my mind, and that was not very good. Hence, that impacted my work, my personal life, a lot of different things. So one of the major change, if you want to have in your own life, is to go down to the root of the problem and then work on it. And for me, believing to the right things was the first thing that I wanted to have. And why do I want to believe that miracles do happen? Because yeah, it does happen. In your own personal life, if you consider that, you may have had a lot of miracles. Think about the ship Titanic. I'm not saying Titanic had a miracle, but then the lobster that was there in that ship, it was a miracle for them, right? So how you want to look at things. Again, the point I was trying to make, or I'm trying to make, is miracle do happen. And if you believe that someday things can change in your life, that will give you hope enough to go for it and achieve what you want to do. Thank you, and back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Avi. That's wonderful. And that's very true that believing within yourself, definitely, it can change your life. So, no, thank you so much, Avi, for participating. Now, I am going to go to my third question. So let's see, for third question, how about, did I see somewhere, Jacob?
Jacob is going to play.
Yeah. I'll
Hey,
volunteer.
Jacob, yeah, I saw you from the far. Okay, Jacob. So are you ready?
Easy one.
Okay. No, everything is easy for you, Jacob. Okay.
I wish.
For you, Jacob, the question is, if you could live forever, what you want to be?
If I could live forever, what would I want to be? Whenever you say what would I want to be, is there like a alien or something?
Anything, it's your choice.
Want to be? That's a good question. All right. So if I could live forever, what would I want to be? So when I think about living forever, I think of what could I do? Where could I live? Where could I go? Living forever, living on earth and living in one place would seem unfulfilling. I know myself, I've lived in Houston for several years now, and it seems like I've already seen the far ends of Houston. I've already almost got tired of it. Now, granted, yes, there are a lot of things that I have not seen in Houston. There are a lot of places I could continue to go. However, I would want to see more, see things faster, and see them from a different perspective. So what would I want to be if I could live forever? The first thing that comes to my mind is I would want to be an angel. Why an angel? I would want to be an angel for several reasons. Number one, I need some wings because I need to be getting places. Okay. Number one. Number two, being an angel, I feel like I would be able to go interdimension and would have a much broader spectrum of places to go and things to see. So if I could live forever, what would I want to be? That is an angel. And why? Because I feel like I would be able to go endless places and enjoy things much more than I could as a human. Thank you very much. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jacob. That's true. You don't need any visa. You don't need any ticket. You can go anywhere you want. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so the next I am going to, how about, let's see, Jessica, would you like to participate? Okay, thank you. Okay, for you, question is, Jessica, that what is something that is popular now, but in 10 years, we might be ashamed of?
Yeah, that's.
That's a very tricky question. Uh, okay,
You want me to change the question for you?
no, I will try.
You try, okay.
What is popular now, but is not, people will feel be shameful 10 years ago? I think I would talk something about what happened in China. Popular now, I guess, is divorce. Maybe it's, I shouldn't say popular, but it's more common now in China. But back probably more than 10 years, maybe 20, 30 years ago, in my parents' age, when they were young or when they were in adults, parenthood, it will be a shameful event that you're getting divorced. It's not common back then. People try to stay together. They will say, oh, because we have young kids, we want to maintain this relationship. So we don't want to getting divorced. We want to give family life to our kids so they can grow up as the normal kids. But now I felt it's much common. I like to watch the Chinese mating show, like girls and boys, they get together and then try to find the right one. And then most of the case, not most, but some of the case, those people coming in, they already married before and not successful. But it's okay. People accept that as long as they don't have kids. I think they are still popular and people will pick them. But I bet back in 20, 30 years, that's not possible. Okay, thank you. Back to you,
Look,
Mr.
you did it, Jessica. I did it. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was a really tricky question. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So, Mr. President, do we have time for one more?
Probably we don't have any more time. I think we need to continue on. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we don't have more time for more
okay.
table topics. Right? Yes. But we are, with this, we are going to start the third part of our meeting tonight. So I am going to call Madam General Evaluator to present the evaluators for the evening. Ms. Melissa, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Madam, Mr. Co-Chair. So as part of the general evaluator, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speech evaluators. Our speech evaluators, they evaluate our speakers, they give them encouragement, they provide feedback on their content, delivery, connection. And the goal, of course, of our speech evaluators is to overcome any negative self-talk that that may arise. And of course, also to be able to provide feedback to our contestants, our speakers, on how to improve their public speaking skills. So please help me welcome my first evaluator, Akeen, who will be evaluating Ms. Soma.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. It appears we don't have any guests tonight. Soma.
Yes, we have one.
We have one? Okay, very good. Okay, good evening as well, our guests. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you so very much. Especially, I like your smiley face, so keep it up. We like to smile around here. So thank you very much. Okay, Summer. Where is Summer? I can't even find her. She dropped off?
Soma just texted me. She got an emergency. She had to leave. So
Okay.
she's not with us anymore, but definitely if you want to go ahead and give her a speech evaluation anyway.
The title of our speech, I believe, is My Relationship with My Guardian. And I will base my evaluation on the form issued to us by Toastmasters International, which is in 8 key areas: speech development, effectiveness, speech value, physical, voice, manner, appropriateness, and correctness. On a scale of 0 to 15 for speech development, I thought Summer did very well by organizing our speech structure. That's what that is about, organization. And she backed our speech up with specific examples. So on that note, I gave her a rating of 12 out of 15. On effectiveness, I thought she was able to achieve the purpose of her speech, which was more about the relationship that she built with her guardian. And of course, I gave her a mark of 7 out of 10 on that. Speech value, I thought the thought was original. And because of that, I was able to follow the logic as much as possible. Again, online meetings can be tricky sometimes, particularly if you miss hearing a key word, you might just be dropping off, except you're able to pick things back up really quickly. But she did her very best to keep us on track. So I gave her a mark of 20 out of 25 on the value. Physical, 8 out of 10, because I believe that our speaking area was good. The only thing I will advise her is to consistently stay at the center of her frame if she's going to deliver virtually. However, if she's going to move to the side, she should move there, say what she wants to say, and then move back. So on that, I gave her 8 out of 10. Voice. Of course, we know Summer. Summer's voice is very unique. So I thought she did very well. 8 out of 10. Manner. That is a director, assurance, and enthusiasm. I thought she did very well as well. 8 out of 10. Appropriateness. The speech was appropriate for everyone. So she was very direct, and especially the natural Summer came out with the enthusiasm. You could tell that she was very passionate and enthusiastic to deliver the speech. So another 7 out of 10. And then finally, correctness. So speech purpose and the audience. She spoke about a topic that we all could relate to. And because of that, I gave her 7 out of 10. So overall, 78 out of 100 per Toastmasters rule, because this is a contest. So thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. Back to you. I don't know whether we're timing this at all. Back to you.
Melissa, your microphone is off.
Thank you, Mr. Akin, and for that evaluation. Next, we have our second evaluator who is going to evaluate our second contestant. Our second contestant is Mr. Tosin. Please help me welcome Avi to evaluate the speech given by Tosin.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I want to set the premise first. Okay. You may want to. Okay, sure. All right. Ready? Yep. Okay. Tosin, I want to set the premise first. The simple categories that we generally do for our Toastmaster evaluation will not work here. You're up for a big challenge. That is the contest, and not just any contest, international contest. And based on my experience in District 56, I know who you are going to go against with, who all will be your competitors out there. So take all my feedback with a pinch of salt. These are my perception that I think will take you off the edge and definitely you'll go very far from you. And I'll follow Mr. Akin, my very good friend's pattern here. We are not going to do the 3 things that we generally do. I'm going to evaluate you on the 8 parameters that generally any judge, starting from the area to the international level, they're going to judge you. And again, I'm going to repeat, that is speech development, effectiveness, speech value, physical, voice, manner, appropriateness, and correctness. These are the 8 parameters generally they look for. And specifically, they pinpoint exactly what they need. And that's how they evaluate, as Mr. Akins pinpointed the numbers. I may not go through the numbers, but I'll tell you where you can work on. First thing first, 3 things of that 8 category I'm gonna put out away. Your voice. You have a powerful voice. It had a pure clarity in it. Well done. 10 out of 10 from my end. I didn't give 10 out of 10, but yeah, 10 out of 10. Manner. Your enthusiasm out of the world. I can see that you are passionate about your speech. Good. Keep that away right now. Correctness. No issue with grammar, no issue with your language. You are very good in what you do, what you speak. Well done. Let's keep it away. Now let's come to the point where actually you may want to work with, because these are the areas where your competitors have been working since last 25 years. All right, to start with speech development. Setting up the premise. It took a little bit longer for you. Meaning you said the glass water and all that thing. It took 1.5 minutes for you to get there. So the meat of your speech, which was your interaction with your kid, it got squeezed a little bit just because of the timing thing. So maybe you wanna segment your speech into different ways. Like, this is my introduction, this is my example, this is a timing is very important here. And how you pace every content of it matters. That's how the judge is gonna look for it. Second thing, effectiveness. You are a great speaker, no doubt on that. Where I would request you to work on is the pacing of words. You had longer gaps. At times, those longer gaps are well needed for the audience to grasp every single detail that you're talking about. But in your case, you maintained every word between those long gaps. So make sure the sentences that needs to be spoken faster, let them get out of your system quick. Where you want to emphasize, have that part spoken slowly, softly, hardly, however you want to do that. Then your close, your closing of your speech. There was something missing. Generally, when you close a speech, when the judges are writing for that 1 minute, for the audience, they might have to think about what you said. There has to be a long-lasting impression. So something you may want to add to close that speech with big impact. Next, speech value. This is something, again, my observation. There are repeated use of the word shoes. You may want to avoid that. I think you spoke the word shoes 13 times. So use different analogy or anything, but it became a little bit familiar, like shoes for me. Maybe you want to work on that. And then a lot of that example revolved around you and your kid. There was very less for the audience to take back or relate to. This is your personal experience, but you're trying to convey a message. When you convey using a bigger platform, there are like a lot of people sitting out there with different experience, and you are conveying a very powerful message to them. So maybe you want to add some more examples there that, okay, this is what can happen to you and all that. Again, how you do it, you are the master in that, I know that. And then the next thing is physical. When you started your premise, you talked about the glass half full, half less. And I know I'm going off the time, but time is not the matter here. You need to get this thing ready right now. When you talked about the glass half full, maybe you want to have a glass with half full water, half, like that. Because that gives an impression that what you're working, and using prop adds on to your speech value. So you get extra marks for that. Not it, again, it's judge dependent, but then bringing a physical representation gives a huge impact on that. Next, you used a third imaginary person, that is your kid. And when you're talking back and forth, the emotions were the same. Meaning you are talking to your kid with the same emotion, but then in reality, your kid might be having a different emotion, serious one, when he is talking to you. The both things were similar. Maybe you want to distinguish, like when the kid is little surprised, shocked, and you are with joy and, perplexed way you are talking to them. That should be a different way. That way, judges and everybody would be able to see the difference. Like, okay, there is a character out there. Right now, for me, it was one character trying to play two different things with same emotion. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Second, or the last one, appropriateness. Invoke audience. Have the audience talk to the audience directly. When you're finishing a speech, ladies and gentlemen, this is what, so again, example. This is what my example, but you may have had something on these lines or something like that you may want to call out. That way, the people who were veering off your speech may again come back and then they get engaged back on that. And finally, yeah, make sure your speech maybe for 2 minutes revolves around you and then goes back to a global pattern. That's it. But apart from that, you did a wonderful job. Congratulations and all the best for your name. Thank you.
Avi, thank you for that evaluation. Fellow Toastmasters, we have one more evaluation that will be presented. Help me welcome Carol to evaluate the speech given by Elias. Carol, take it away.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. Well, Elias, I enjoyed your speech very, very much. I got a big hoot out of it. It was very imaginative and, in my opinion, it was a wonderful undertaking that you had to present this speech, and it was very imaginative, and I enjoyed that. The other two evaluators have used a judge's evaluation sheet, and I will use the same for the Tall Tales contest, because on the agenda, you were to be speaking in your dynamic leadership plan and how you determined what your communication style was. And that is not what you spoke on this evening. So I am going to use the Tall Tales contest speech evaluation form, and it is slightly different from the international speech form. Your speech development, I thought, was excellent. You began to define what is a tall tale, and I thought that was very powerful. I appreciated that very much. So I gave you 30 points for that one. Your speech techniques, you had used irony, you used surprise twists in your speech, and you used quite a bit of humor. You didn't use any slapstick, but I wasn't expecting any slapstick. You used quite a bit of humor in there. Particularly, I liked it when you said that Neil Armstrong said, "Well, at least I stuck the flag." I thought that was so funny. I really appreciated that. So in your speech techniques, I gave you a 25, which is the top score in that category. Physical appearance and body language. Now, on that, you were pretty static. I didn't see you moving a whole lot. Now, I know that's part of the modus operandi of a hybrid meeting. You just can't get up and bounce the ball and pitch it around the room if you're in your own house in that little bitty screen that we're all looking at. But I think you could have spent more time doing some physical movements around the area in which you'll be speaking, because you will be speaking in a person on stage, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So you will have to get some movement involved in there. I don't know that you could try and bounce that soccer ball around. That's kind of a big thing, but you will have to do some movement involved in your speech. And that's the area where you really need to kind of work on and kind of give it some more oomph. And for that one, I gave you just a 10 out of 15. Your voice was fine. Your volume was a little bit soft. I thought maybe it's my 84-year-old hearing, but to me, your voice was just a little softer than I would like to hear. And it didn't have a whole lot of flexibility, ups and downs and things of that nature. and possibly part of your movement could be moving into the camera or the front and then moving back out, you know, and speaking, maybe using your tone voice in different areas like that. As appropriateness, well, it was a tall tale. It was very, very innovative. I loved what you talked about with regard to the future of moon soccer. I think that's very funny. I also love the fact that China is trying to get that ball because they want to win the soccer games. That was really, really good. And I enjoyed that very, very much. So all in all, I gave you a 90 on this score. It would have been a little bit better had your physical movements been a little bit better. And I appreciated it. And thank you very much, Elias. And I wish you the best when you go on to your competition. Okay.
Just one point of order. Thank you so much, Carol. Apologies, Madam General Evaluator. Just one point of order before I forget. Elias, it was very good, as Carol said, for you to tell us what Tall Tales was. But please, on the competition day, don't do that.
Yeah.
Those who are going to be listening to you, they're not expecting you to tell them what Tall Tales is. But it was good for us tonight because we are learning it. So I agree with Carol 100%. But please, when you get out of the club to the area contest, go straight to whatever you want to do. Either you want to start with a story, with a question, or with a statistic, because those are the three ways that you could start a very good speech. But the best way is with a personal story. So a story, a question, or a statistic. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, thank you. So before we veer off or continue forward, I want to go ahead and take a moment to make sure that we vote for our table topic. If we could send those ballots over to our ballot counter.
Yes, I guess we are going to, if you guys can pass me your ballots here for table topic by table topic evaluators in a piece of paper. Give it to So the table topics, you can select the table topics, select the best one, the one that we consider the best. So we had in the, could you remind me who we have in the table topics? We have, I know we have Jacob. I know we have Avi.
Carol, we had Carol as well.
Carol,
We have Jessica,
Jessica
Avi,
Carol,
and Avi.
and Avi. Jessica, Carol, Jacob.
Jessica, Carol, Avi, Jacob.
Where you would like the best.
Okay, well, we're sending those votes out to, at least send the votes out to our ballot counter. I will go ahead and continue with our meeting, and it is now
The
time.
ones online, if you can, the ones online, if you can please send me your vote on a private message to the ballot counter, please.
Okay.
Will we be doing a qualifications for, not for the time, not for the competition, but what about our evaluators tonight?
Don't let's worry about that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, please, let's just focus on representatives, how we can present them well, if that's okay with everybody.
All right. So one of the things as part of being an evaluator and evaluating, it's important for us to get our message across in the allowed time and for the meetings to run accordingly to the schedule. So our timer, Avi, if you will now give us a report on how we've done with the time in regards to the speeches.
Madam General Evaluator, would you like me to show you or tell you the time for everyone or just the different office?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you want me to read out the timing for everybody or just the table topics?
Just for the table topics for this at this time.
All right. Carol, 1 minute 25, Avi, 1 minute 27, Jacob, 1 minute 23, Jessica, 1 minute 50. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Thank you. So now is the time to evaluate our meeting. So we're going to start, Mr. Timer, I will call you back up to do the full report for all the times. But first, we're going to call on our grammarian to give us our report. And she's been tracking, the use of the words of the day. It's a big undertaking to listen to have to listen for the use of languages as well as points of improvement. So if you will give us your report, Ms. Rafia, Ms. Grammarian, take it away.
you. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So while I was speaking the speeches and the other speakers, and I could not hear any of the misuse of language, and I could not catch any grammar mistakes, and all of you were very well prepared. And somehow I was able to hear the word of the day only once. So that was Miss Carol who used it. And I could not catch any other person who was using the word of the day. And overall, you all were good. And there are some of the phrases that got my attention that I'm going to share with you. For Soma, when she was having the speech, and she said that nature work has a tendency of re-emulation. And another one was the re-emulation is instinct part of nature. And I also caught from Elias, and he said that his skills were magic in the field. And with Tosin, I noted down that in negotiating, best outcome is win-win or win-lose. That was something that I have written down for me. And back to you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. The next person on my team that I will call on is going to be our AHA counter, who is tracking the use of verbal phrases, those ahs that come out of our mouths while we think of the next thing to say and distract our audience from our messages. So our AHA counter for tonight is Ms. Jessica Sun. Jessica, take it away. If you could give us your report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. For the R counter report, I didn't catch too much and the filler word, so the other words, so only a few. Melissa, I got a couple of R's, and so one so. Rafia, I got a few and one R. Soma, I got a couple of so. Elias, I only get one R, and that's it. I didn't catch anything else from anybody else. Thank you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ms. AHA counter. And Mr. Timer, I'm going to have you come back one more time to give us the timing report for the entire meeting.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I guess this is for the speeches, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
All right. So for Tosin, you were 5 minute 59, Soma 5 minute 50, and Elias, you were a little short of 5 minutes. So you were around 4 minute mark. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. So now I have a few comments of the meeting as a whole. The meeting started off on time, maybe 30 seconds off. But the meeting, to me, 30 seconds is still great. Our competition chair moderator spoke with enthusiasm. And I noticed that all the rows were filled prior to the meeting. This was our first hybrid meeting that we've had. think ever, I feel. So I know we had 7 online people and 5 in-person people. So we introduced our in-person guest. The co-chairperson, the competition chair moderator introduced our guest for tonight and welcomed us with just warmness and encouragement for our competition. We also had the opportunity, they had the opportunity during the meeting to rise to the challenges of navigating the small technical, the minor technical challenges of having a hybrid meeting. But it was smooth. The meeting ran smoothly and on time. The table topics started on time. And we also had the opportunity for our guest to introduce herself. And I feel that we have just amazing team members, and it was a joy to be here. Thank you. Back to you. And I'll turn it back over to our competition chair moderator. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. Right. Appreciate it. So this is the moment that everybody has been waiting the whole evening. So I am going to announce the winners of the evening tonight. So give me some fanfare to announce, first of all, the best table topic speakers of the evening. That person is Jacob. There you go, Jacob. Congratulations. Best table topics. Next one, the representative for the Tall Tales speaker at the district competition. Nobody else than Ilias. And our representative for our club for the international speech competition in March of this year. The selection of our judges was Jose. Congratulations. All right. Thank you very much. And for the benefit of our guests, we have a tradition in this club that we ask one of our members, especially when we have visitors, how do we call it? I forgot how we call it. My Toastmaster why. My Toastmaster why. And it's basically we ask one of our Toastmasters why they joined Toastmasters or what is the benefit that they see in Toastmasters. So I'm going to ask Abby, which is present here, to please come and give us your Toastmaster why.
Thank you. This is a table topics for me, but so please be patient. All right, ma'am. You are the guest here, so probably this will help you why anyone joins Toastmaster. For me, my personal reason, I had 3 reasons why I joined Toastmaster. Number 1, I had huge stage fear. Even now, when I'm looking at you guys, I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? Stage fear is one of the primary things. I wanted to get out of that. Second is presentation skills. I work in IT, and in my work, I have to go and present in different areas and do different things. So for that, I need to be comfortable enough to look at the screen, convey my point, make sure they get what they need to get. So presentation skill is the second reason. Third reason is articulating my point. There are people who will speak, and there are people while speaking, they make sense. I'm in the first category. I know only how to speak, but it takes some time for me to make sense on what I'm trying to say. These are the 3 reasons why I joined Toastmasters. Long way to go, but right now I'm trying to be more comfortable in taking control of these things. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Abby. Let me see. You have a charger by any means? Just in case. I have my other computer there in case. Yeah, we have a backup, so don't worry. We have a backup in case that the battery runs out. So before I let you guys go home after this fun evening, I hope that everybody got fun. I'm going to ask our guests, what do you think about the meeting? How did you like it? Did you have done things different? If that's what you expected from a Toastmaster meeting. So I'll give you the floor to come and share your experience with us.
Hi, everyone. So I wasn't really expecting anything. I didn't really have expectations. I didn't know what was gonna happen during this meeting, but I really liked it and I enjoyed everyone's speech and feedback. I think I learned based off whatever the judges gave to the speakers tonight, like their feedback. I think that's gonna help me in the future.
Thank you, Yamaya. Thank you very much. And you are always welcome to join any of our meetings virtually, or hopefully this will be the first of many hybrid meetings. So we'll come to visit you here, hopefully, if Jacob allows. And your bosses too. And your bosses. So you are welcome to join us anytime again. I mean, we meet the second and the fourth Wednesday of every month, except for Thanksgiving Wednesday. We don't meet that Wednesday. And if it's very close to Christmas or New Year's Eve, we take a break. But other than that, we meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So with this, I think you guys hope that I have a great experience with the hybrid. We have a lot of fun here. The 5 of us, we're really enjoying it. And I hope that we can come back. I think it was good to see people in person again. It's totally different than seeing you on the computer. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of the evening. Go back to your loved ones and enjoy Valentine's Day or Valentine's evening. Have a nice dinner and enjoy the rest of the evening. With this, thank you very much, everybody. And have a good one. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you also very much. Thanks for your commitment, for showing up at the venue.